Welcome to the Piano Keys. I'm so glad that you're here. Do you ever feel like no matter how much time you spend practicing, you're never quite sure if you're doing it right? You don't really reach the goals that you set. And you might even be getting a little frustrated, like you spend time at the piano, why is it not working for you? Well, you're in the right place because today I'm going to share with you the best way to practice that usually only the elite musicians are taught. So I know that a lot of people who watch my videos have taught themselves how to play piano or are teaching themselves how to play piano. Maybe that's you. Or maybe you've taken lessons as a child or even, currently if you're an adult. I think most of you are adults. But you're floundering a little bit. You know that you can be better, but you're not sure why. Well, even people who take lessons often aren't taught how to practice in the best way. I've seen so many people that think practicing is just repeating something over and over until you get it right. The sad fact is that many piano teachers are not really qualified to teach. I'm not talking about the great teachers here. I'm talking about a lot of teachers. So the truth is that you don't really need any training or certification or anything like that to be a piano teacher. Basically, you decide that you're going to teach piano and you hopefully start getting some students, and then those students, maybe they don't know any better, like they're not sure what a piano lesson is supposed to be like, what realistic goals are, what they should be achieving. Not sure, so they might like their piano teacher very much and keep going to lessons and maybe refer other people, but they're not really getting a great piano education, and I think that's really sad. Now, the really great teachers usually won't take adult students or students that they don't see like huge promise in as with a performing career ahead of them. So most people don't have access to these incredible teachers, and in fact they might be actually out of your budget. There's also this prevailing attitude that adults are learning piano just for fun. Can I put quotes here? Just for fun. Why is it just? But okay, just for fun. They're not going to be professionals, so they don't need serious instruction. And I'm going to take a moment here to call out those online piano courses, the apps, the tutorials that promise to take you from beginner to expert, like in one course or in 30 days or whatever. Come on. I saw a video today on YouTube. I didn't click on it. Had a lot of views that said something like, I'm not going to say it exactly because I don't want you to go looking for it. I'm sure this person means well. So, okay. Something like, play like a pro or do something like a pro in under a certain amount of minutes. Is there anybody there that believes this can happen? That you can play like a pro, you can do anything like a pro in a few minutes work? Come on. It's crazy, right? And yet we have video after course after app that tells you, like, you don't really need to work hard, you don't need to spend money, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that. Just buy this course or watch this video or buy this app and you'll get to where you're going. It's not going to happen. A lot of people who find my channel and my courses have told me that they've done these other tutorials and apps and courses, and they've spent their precious time and their money on these things. And then at the end of it, they're kind of left like, I'm not sure what I got out of that, It might have been a good start, it might have got the ball rolling, but what do I do from there, right? There's no follow through with these things. So as you can see, I'm a little bit excited about it because I get angry about people taking advantage of other people's lack of experience and desire. So if you're not sure what to look for in a teacher or a course or an app, you're going to believe those happy, smiling faces of the teacher and of the students that supposedly, learned amazing things in a week. It's not true. Those people are paid. They're actors. It's just like in the diet commercials that show you the before and after. That doesn't really happen. It's like the same model sucking in her stomach in the after and then letting it fall out in the before. Or they sometimes use twins. This is true, you guys. They'll use twins, one who is in shape and one who is not shaped, to show you before and afters. So anyway, what I'm saying is, it's not your fault. If you don't know what to look for, you're going to believe these wonderful promises. I've actually had conversations with a few of these instructors that have these courses and stuff, and they say, what's the harm? These people don't want to spend a lot of time, and they're doing it just for fun. And there's that word again, fun. When you're doing something for fun, don't you still want to reach your best potential? Isn't it more fun to do something when you're good at it? Is it fun to be frustrated? Is it fun to have pain in your hands and in your fingers and in your wrists? Is it fun to keep practicing and never feel like you're getting that much better? Remember, there's no shortcut or magic bullet to learning to play the piano. You have to put in real effort consistently over time. But there is good effort, and then there's a wasted effort. And time is our most precious resource. You can never get back time that has gone. So you spending your time practicing, don't you want to get the best return for that time? And don't you want to be able to enjoy playing the piano and play it well and play these beautiful pieces? So in this video, I'm going to give you a system of practicing that will definitely pay off for you if you follow it and if you do it regularly. And by regularly, I mean several times a week. It's the system that I was taught as a very high-level piano student, starting from early childhood and going all the way through college and grad school. I still use it for myself as a professional musician, and I still use it with all my in-person piano students, no matter what age they are or what their background is or their level. It applies to everybody. So it's a simple template that you can start using today at whatever level you're on, and then as you advance, you can still keep using it. You don't have to change anything. So before we get into that, I want to make sure that you've watched my secret piano tip video. I'll link to it right here, because it's part of practicing. I'm not really going to get into it in this video because there's a whole video dedicated to it. So go watch that and then come back here. If you've already seen it, then we're good to go. So here's the system. We're going to split your practice time into 3 sections. And for our example, we'll take a practice session of 30 minutes. The first section will take up about 25 of your practice time. So for our hypothetical 30-minute practice session, this would be about 7 or 8 minutes. And this first section is for warming up and for doing technique work. This is where you do your scales, your exercises, things like that. So not only are we warming up your hands, your body, but you're also focusing your mind on practicing, on really connecting to what you're doing here. You're also going to do exercises here that extend your technique, that teach you new ways of moving. Maybe you go faster, or you do certain exercises that have you stretching in different ways, things like that. So here usually people would ask, okay, what are the best exercises to do, or how should I practice my scales? And I will say here what I always say in answer to this question. The most important thing is how you physically move. Your hands, your wrists, your fingers, your back, your shoulder position, where your feet are. Those things are much more important than the particular exercise that you do or how you practice the scale. Do you do 2 octaves? Do you do 4 octaves? Do you do splits? Do you do parallel? Those things aren't as important as how you are physically moving at the piano. So there are no special, magical, advanced exercises that are going to take you to the next level on piano. Even if you do the best kinds of exercises, but you do them with bad technique, are not going to make you a better pianist. They'll actually make you worse because they might give you tendinitis or carpal tunnel syndrome or things like that. So I want to be very, very clear. It's not the exercise that matters, it's how you play it, your technique. Please watch the video that I'm linking here, my finger independence exercise that work video, for more information on this. I don't have time in this video to go into all of that, so I made a whole other video. Okay, go check that out, please. So technique is a huge topic, and that video will help you kind of get into it, okay? All right, so you've warmed up for about 7 or 8 minutes. Now what? The next section will take about 50% of your practice time. So again, in our 30-minute hypothetical, then it will be about 15 minutes of your practice session. This is the section where you work on the pieces that you're learning. The best way to practice learning pieces is to take small sections and work on them for learning the notes, the rhythms, the fingering, any tricky sections that you need to spend some time on, and drill that section so you can really get into your fingers. Anything that is presenting any sort of challenge for you. If you watch my practice time videos, and I have a lot of them, you'll see exactly what I mean. So in practice time videos, I show you how I practice advanced pieces, but I talk a lot because I want you to understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and and my like reactions to what I do. So everything doesn't come out perfect when you're practicing. So I talk you through how I handle it. Also, if you notice, all of my tutorials on every piece of music that I teach are split up into small sections, one hand at a time, then hands together, then maybe adding the pedal. The reason for this is that I've learned over many years of practicing and teaching and performing that learning short sections and drilling them is really the quickest and most reliable way to learn to play any piece. It seems like it's the long way around, but it really isn't. Many people have asked me, should I work on one piece at a time and perfect it and then move on to the next piece, or should I work on several pieces at the same time? Okay, so imagine that you are wanting to get your body into shape. You want to get fit, you want to get healthy, you want to get strong, flexible, all that stuff, right? And you go to the gym and you only work out your biceps for a few months, or however long it takes you to get your biceps looking and feeling the way that you want them to look and feel. Once that's done, then you move on to your triceps. Spend a month or two on your triceps. When that's done, you move on to your chest. When that's done, you move on to your back. What do you think about that? It doesn't seem like the best way, right? Why is that? Because our body works as a system all at once. You don't isolate, your biceps. When you're doing anything, it's very hard to isolate any part of your body because the whole thing is made to work as a unit, right? It's the same thing when you're playing the piano. So if you just work on one piece for a month or two or more, you're actually losing the opportunity to get better faster, because every single piece of music presents to you a puzzle to solve, right? And every piece has its own pieces of the puzzle. It's not a great analogy, but go with me, okay? So it's got its own pieces of the puzzle, and if you work on 3 or 4 pieces at the same time, what you're doing is you're kind of attacking this thing from different angles, and you're actually building up your abilities as a musician and as a pianist from lots of different angles. In the same way that if you went to the gym, you would work out, maybe your upper body one day, your lower body the next day, or a full Pilates workout or whatever, right? So it's very similar. So each of these pieces is going to have its own movements that are particular to that piece, especially if you do let's say a piece by Bach, one by Chopin, one by Schubert. Each one of those has its own style and way of playing, even though the technique has to be good all around. But often the touch is different, the pedaling is different, the musical ideas are different. So you definitely want to have a lot of pieces going on at once. 3 or 4 is pretty good. So you might say, well, I don't have time to work on 3 or 4 pieces, or it takes me so long to learn one piece. You want me to work on 3 or 4 at the same time? The answer is yes. Yes, I do. And here's why. With my system, you're not going to sit in front of a piano for an hour, toiling away on the same piece, making the same mistakes over and over, hoping for the best. With my system, if you're doing like a 30-minute practice session, then you're going to have 15 minutes to work on your pieces. So if you're working on 3 pieces, that's about 5 minutes per piece. I know, that's not very long. You're going to take a small section of each piece on the day that you practice, and you work on that section only. And then you move on to the next piece. This will help you streamline your practicing, really focus in like a laser beam on what you need to get done in those 5 minutes or so. You'll also notice your weaknesses really fast, which is a wonderful thing. Normally we don't want to know about our weaknesses, but when you're trying to get better at something, what you really want to look at is your weaknesses, because those are the things that are keeping you from getting better, right? So you'll notice the weaknesses and you can start targeting them a lot better. Now, if you have more than 30 minutes, you're practicing like an hour, then you would have half an hour to work on those 3 pieces, right? So before we go on, let's talk about exactly how long a good practice session should last. So in my experience, it's not very productive to sit at the piano for 2 to 3 hours straight and try to work it out. What's better is to do short sessions, maybe twice a day. So you would do like, let's say 45 minutes in the morning before work and a half an hour in the evening, or split it up however your life works. It's fine. But in that way, you're kind of like you're kind of shortening time. You're doing like a time warp where you get more practice sessions in, and your body feels like it's like going through time faster. I don't really know how to explain it, but I've seen it and I've felt it so much, and I've seen it in my students. 2 practice sessions split up over the day, way better than 1 long session. It just works differently, and I'm not really sure why. If you are a scientist, especially a brain scientist, and you know why that is so, please let me know. Okay, so we've done 2 sections so far. We've done our warm-up and we've done our practice. That leaves us with our 3rd section, and that is a 25% section. And so about another 7 or 8 minutes. And in this 3rd section, you're going to work on your repertoire. Repertoire is a fancy word that musicians use for describing the pieces that they know how to play. So let's say that you've already learned how to play Moonlight Sonata, and now you can play it really well, and you're moving on learning other pieces. If you don't play Moonlight Sonata often, you're going to lose it. It'll be out of your fingers. You'll sit down to play it, and you'll know that you learned it, but for some reason, the fingers don't go there. It's because you forgot. And it happens to everybody. Everyone, okay? So it's not just you. So you must repeat the pieces that you want to keep in your fingers. And so you can use the last 25% of your practice time to do that. Now keep in mind that this is a very simple general template, and the details are going to be different according to your different needs and your goals and your abilities and so on. But because it's so simple, it's very adaptable. And the most important thing is that it actually works. Before I let you go, I want to say one more thing. Learning does not happen in a linear way. So if you were looking at a graph, it doesn't go from low to high in a straight line. That's not how we're built. You'll have periods where things just click and you're getting better, and you're like, wow, I never knew I had this ability. This feels so great. Those times really do feel great. And then you'll have times when you're at a plateau and you're practicing and you're not getting worse, but you're not really getting better. You're just kind of maintaining. You're not noticing like any great leaps of understanding or technical brilliance or anything like that. Totally normal. And then there will be other times when you feel like you're getting worse. Maybe things are starting to hurt. Maybe you've been practicing a certain section in a piece, you've taken it apart, you've watched all my practicing and technique videos, and you still can't figure out, why am I not getting better? Okay, in those times you need to reach out to someone who can actually help you. I can help you. So if you join my piano practice tips group on Facebook, you can post videos there, you can ask me questions, and I will tell you exactly what I think that might be holding you back, what you're doing right, anything like that. So ask to join, and once you're part of the group, jump in and participate in the discussions. You will also learn from other people's experience. So watch the other videos on piano practice tips and see what I say about them, because you might have the same exact issue going on. So let me know what you think. I hope this was very helpful for you. And as you apply this system, you probably have some questions. You'll encounter things that maybe I didn't talk about. Let me know, and I will do my best to answer those questions for you. Also, take a look at my website, thepianokeys.com. There's a lot of resources there for you. You'll probably find something that will interest and or help you to get better at piano. If you're on Instagram, connect with me there, The Piano Keys TPK. This was a long video, and there's so much more I can say about the topic, but I hope this gives you a good start. Keep practicing, have fun, and I'll see you soon. Bye.